Am I on? Am I on? Yes, I am. Good morning, everyone. Today's Sunday. How are you? April 5th, Palm Sunday. So I'm going to start a little video. So I had this idea a couple of days back, and I got it reinforced this morning. Do any of you ever listen to Joel Osteen? I listen to Joel Osteen all the time. I really like his sermons. They're so positive and they pick you up a lot, and he gives you a lot of the word also. So today on his program, excuse me, I'm not used to talking to people. I've been isolated. I only talk to my son, but I'm not teaching, so my throat gets a little dry. So it was on Joel, and I could say Joel Osteen because he's a good guy. I think he's a good guy. I like him. So he on his program, he was talking on. He has the actual sermon he does in church, and then he does a podcast, and he was taking calls in, and he said, or the gentleman he was talking to said that he had some famous person had put a tweet out, a Twitter, whatever it is. I don't know anything about Twitter. So, and it said that this famous person said that what we're going through is the great equalizer. And I said, wow, that makes sense. The great equalizer. So just because you have a better position, not a better position, a higher position, more money, that'll buy you more things, it doesn't matter because we're all in the same boat. So the coronavirus is just the great equalizer. We're all becoming equal, which we should have known already, right? But somehow everything got distorted in the world, and some people think they're better than other people, and it's not necessarily money or materialism. It's just, the way people think, that they're just better than other people, and that's being human. All of us come across that every once in a while. I mean, some of us more often than others. We have a lot of power in the classroom. There's no one there to manage us. So, we have a principal, but in the classroom, it's all us. So teachers tend to think that we have way more power than we actually have, if that makes sense. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about changing your importance. And I'm going to tell you about this story, and I'm going to read a couple of scriptures, and I'm going to explain the persons in the story. And I hope to God I do it justice for you, okay? Because I really had to think about this one. Okay, so changing your importance, or finding out what your importance is also. So there's a story of Naaman, and Naaman had a skin disease. And this is in 2 Kings chapter 5, verses 1 through about, actually I think you could go all the way to about 20, actually you could read the whole thing. So about till 27, yes. Okay, so this thing of the importance of people and how they think they're more important in the world. Okay, so I look at people, and I think the dynamics of the family have changed, and that's because of a lot of things, and that's like a whole other subject. But I think that because everyone has to work, and they really have good intentions of giving their children better lives, that they kind of like buy the duties that they're supposed to be doing, I think, because of time, because of work, because of just other things, right? So they kind of like want other people to teach their children, sports or academics or manners or catechism or God or whatever it is that they're hiring for, or make my house better. Instead of me painting, let me pay you to paint. I've done that, right? Who wants to paint? Except for my studio, I painted it. Well, actually my niece painted it, but I painted some of it. And you could tell, you could tell where I painted, but hey, you know? So when they hire these people to do these services, especially for their children, they think that they can, because they're paying them, that they can actually complain about, oh, you're giving me this lousy service and I hired you. When I think they should have been doing it themselves, okay? So that's where this importance comes in, that, oh, I hired my child for you to, I hired someone for my child to get better at something. I don't like how you're doing it, and do it, do it better. And there's a sense of importance there, okay? And that comes across a lot with teachers and parents. They have the best intentions, right, to help their children, but we do have a degree for a reason, and I'm pretty sure that all of us are more than competent in teaching, but for some reason parents, if they don't like something, they'll like come and want to tell us how to do our job. So, I mean, if you think about it, if I go to your work and tell, I think I've done a lot of jobs, I've had a lot of professions, so I could tell you how to do your job, no, you wouldn't like that. So that sense of importance comes from a lot of things that have changed in the family dynamics, in the business, in just things, money, materialism, just things that we're exposed to. All right, so that's the background. Okay, so Naaman was, he was the commander of the army of the king of Aram. Okay, but he had an imperfection. Naaman had a skin disease, okay, leprosy. So the Lord used him to get victory. It says in the verse that the Lord gave victory, okay, to Naaman to help Aram, the king. So, but yet Naaman was imperfect. He had a skin disease. Okay, so kind of like me. I'm the Lord's servant, right? So God has been telling me all my life, I need you to do this, and I'm kind of like, I don't really want to do that. We talked about that before. And he finally said, well, you've been studying for how many years now? Let's throw you in there. And I said, and it took coronavirus, throw me in. Okay, so yet I am not perfect. I'm not perfect. I think I'm a good teacher. I think I'm an excellent teacher, actually. Importance, right? But I had this issue with my temper, and I've always had a temper. So I'm not perfect. So Naaman wasn't perfect. He was able to go and conquer and win, and yet he had a skin disease. Okay. So in one of his many, well, not many, but in one of his raids, yes, perfect guy, right? His army captured a little girl, and the little girl was taken away from her family, and she became the servant of Naaman's wife. Okay, God gave you this, yet you have a servant. Okay, so the little girl, even though she was a servant and she had to serve Naaman and his wife, she said, I really wish that my master would go and see the prophet Elijah. And forgive me if I'm saying the names incorrectly, but I Googled and whatever. Okay, that's not important. Anyway, they always mispronounce Mrs. Mungia. They pronounce Mongolia, Mangaya, Miss Teacher, and I'm like, okay, the name is Mungia. Okay, so anyway, I get off. You know that. Okay, so so the little girl thought that her master was important enough. After she's captured, right? She says, why can't he go see the prophet Elijah, and he will take away the disease, right? What are we thinking here? Just by that, right? Just by that. What do you mean? She's a servant. She was captive and she cares about her master? Oh yeah. In the world now, we would have already been fighting, right? What do you mean? No, you're not going to capture me. I'm not going to serve anyone, right? No. She was concerned about her master. So she said, why can't he go to the prophet and see if he could get rid of the skin disease? So Naaman has a role of importance, yet he serves the king. Yet God gave him victory to win the battle. But then the importance makes him think that he can go and capture this little girl. And then the little girl's importance is she's become a servant, yet I care about my master. You see how all of that, the importance, it's a whole changing. It's a changing. It's a dynamic of change. Okay, so Naaman goes and tells his king Aram, and Aram, his importance, he's a king, right? Take all this gold, take all this silver, take all of these clothes, tell the king where the prophet is, you know, we're going to give him all this so they could take away your skin disease. The importance, right, of a king. Okay. So, so he went, and the king and the other place said, I'm not God. Why you offering me all this for? What are the intentions of your king? See, everybody can't think clearly because they think they're more important than they are. Okay, so give me a minute. I believe it was another servant. Oh no, Elijah said. So he talked to the king and he says, tell him to come to me, because he's the prophet, right? He knows what he's doing. He's God's prophet. So Naaman goes to Elijah's house, right? And of course he comes thinking he's important. You know, I won battles on this. I've done this, I've done that, right? I got my degree. I got my beautiful horse. I got my home, you know. He went to Elijah's house and he stood outside. Okay, I'm going to read it to you. So this is 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 9 through 10, 9 and 10. So Naaman went with his horses and chariots to Elijah's house and stood outside the door. So, you know, come to me. I'm important. I'm here. Cure me, but come to me. Okay? Elijah sent Naaman a messenger who said, go and wash in the Jordan River 7 times. Then your skin will be healed and you will be clean. So Elijah, knowing his importance, he is the prophet of God, right? He sent a messenger and he said, hey, go wash 7 times in the Jordan River. Okay? And then in verse 11, Naaman became angry and left. Why? Because Elijah wouldn't give him his importance. He didn't think he was important, right? And that's all Naaman. That's all Naaman. Naaman is saying, well, why couldn't he come out? Why couldn't he, tell me in person? Watch. You ready? So, I thought Elijah would surely come out and stand before me and call on the name of the Lord his God. I thought he would wave his hand over the place and heal the disease. So, I'm important. Do me the big old show with God. Boom, you're healed. Go. Be free. Right? What would Naaman have learned? If God gave him what he wanted and didn't suffer a little, what would Naaman have learned? So what's the big deal? Why can't he just go wash himself 7 times in the Jordan River? He wants to be healed. So, not only does Naaman want to change, but he wants to control how he changes. So, okay, I'll believe in your God. I'll do what God wants me to do, but let me do it how I want. We talked about that before, right? You can't do that. Okay. I'm going to stop there because this happens in real life, okay? We think we have more importance than we do, and we discount people that you think are foolish, where God says he will work through the foolish, okay? So I have a friend, without naming their name, that told me something about 2-3 weeks ago, and I said, you have this gift that I don't have, that you could show people God in a very different way than I can. And that person said, no one listens to me. I can't do that because no one listens to me. They listen to you, Monica, but they won't listen to me. And I thought, wow, they have this gift, but they don't know their importance. So there we have the other extreme. All right, we have Naaman, who thinks he's so important that the prophet needs to come and meet him. And then we have this other person that has a gift in real life. Well, these were real people also, that doesn't think they have the importance or the status. So how is it that the girl that was a servant knew she was important? How does the prophet that serves God, that doesn't have as much as a king or Naaman, know he's important? Yet this person that has the gift and can share God doesn't know that they have that importance. You see how all the importance changes, and we are all becoming in this change of the coronavirus. Even after isolation, okay, even though when they say, okay, guys, you could go back to work, you could go, it's not going to be the same. It's not. It's not. If a famous person is tweeting, whatever it is they do in Twitter, that the coronavirus is the great equalizer, that person that has fame, that has money, that can do whatever the heck they want, is changing. So hopefully that famous person is going to do something different. All right. I heard someone told me that a famous athlete bought an island for his family to get